Lloyd Machedo speaking to you from LloydMachedo.com. Who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding? Let me just get this. Okay, finally, finally, I am back. It has been literally 2 weeks since I posted my last video, and now I'm going to share with you everything that has happened, including the disasters. Some of you know, some of you do not know. So this is going to be my musing for what has happened since the past 2 weeks and why didn't I post. I definitely want to get this thing out of my chest, and that is my system crashing. Now, for those of you who follow me online, know that once a week I post 10 to 20 videos online, minimum, at least an average of 2 to 3. It goes up to 10 to 20 videos, and I do this like on a given day, 24 hours. I post all the videos and I put it up online. The method how I do it is I record the videos, and after I finish the take, so that there's no disturbance, my wife is not inside. Now it's obviously a closed room, so my wife is not there inside. She's keeping busy and she's keeping quiet without making noise. My dogs are outside. So it's a day dedicated only for recording. So after I finish the recording, then I can relax. Following that, I ensure that the editing is done. I ensure that the thumbnails, the video tags, almost everything is done. And then I upload the videos, and finally I share it on social media. So that's what I do. It takes me 24 hours to do this. Maximum, it'll take me 48 hours. And I dedicate 1 day to this. So what happens is it helps me focus and be productive. If I were to answer emails, reply to messages, speak to clients, I would not be able to do this. So that's why when I'm doing my video recording, it's only video recording. So 15 days ago, I had decided that when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to ensure all the videos are going to be uploaded. I was mentally in the state of mind. I had my topics all prepared. I was in the zone, so to speak. And I went to sleep. When I woke up in the morning, I was feeling like it. I finished my morning routine. For those of you who do not know what is my morning routine, just Google Lloyd Machedo morning routine. You'll get either my answer on Quora or you'll get my video. So after I finished my morning routine, I told my wife, I need to be in the zone. She was like, okay, fine. And I took my cup of coffee, that is my espresso, kept it ready. iMac was there. My microphone, this is my microphone. My microphone was, one second, let me get this. Okay, my microphone was kept ready. Everything was ready. And I sat down on my chair. The iMac, I switched it on, and I was game. Oh, you need to be in the center. Okay. So I was game. And all of a sudden, when I put on my iMac, the iMac wouldn't start. The starting screen would come by, you get the tab, and suddenly it would go blank. So I was like, okay, it must be the updates, because Apple has this notorious method of sending you updates. So I was like, okay, fine. So I didn't think much about it. I waited. I kept sipping my coffee. And finally, I was like, okay, there's no response. I restarted it again, force switch off. And I waited. And then I switched it on again. Nothing happened. I was like, okay, fine. Maybe I need to reset the system. So I unplugged everything. Yeah, these typical methods that you have to restart the system. So I unplugged everything, waited for a few minutes, 1 or 2, connected everything back, waited again, started it. Nothing happened. And then I knew, obviously, because I've been with my iMac, I've been with technology for a couple of years, I knew I need to take this for service. I didn't know the extent of the damage. I didn't know what was wrong. So I was like, okay, sheesh, this is bad. So immediately I told my wife, we need to go and give this iMac for service. And I didn't have breakfast. I didn't have anything. I just took out all my stuff. My wife could see my face, and she knew I was disturbed. She knew that I was not in a very good frame of mind. So she kept quiet. I put my iMac in the box, packed it, put the tape, the iMac box that you have, And I sat on my Honda Forza. I drove 45 minutes, which I hate because my morning is supposed to be productive. 45 minutes, went to my iMac guy. If you give it, for those of you who do not know, in Thailand, if you give your iMac to the official iMac store, they take something like 1 week to 2 weeks. And if you reside in the location that I reside, that is Koh Samui, the island, they literally take 1 month. I'm not joking, they take 1 month. So for 1 month, you'd not have your system. And I was like, I can't wait so long. So I didn't take it to them. I took it to my unofficial iMac guy. So I took it to him, and he said, let me check, and I'll get back to you, Pap. Okay, I said, okay, fine. So after that, 45 minutes, I drove back, and as I was driving back, I was still very upset. I was still very angry. I was like, I need to sort this out. So I drove all the way back and sat down. Once again, took my cup of coffee, an espresso. I said, okay, the iMac is not there. I'll do with the MacBook Pro. So clean the desk. You know how it is when you move your system, you got to rearrange your desk. So rearranged my desk, kept my MacBook Pro, opened it, switched it on. And as I switched it on, sorry, there's a message. As I switched it on, I realized something is not right, because as I switched it on, all of a sudden I could see garbled messages coming. It's like the welcome screen, but garbled messages were just scrolling, and I was like, okay, something is wrong here. Something is really wrong. And nothing was happening. So I restarted it. Same thing. I restarted third time, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is not happening to me. This is seriously not happening to me. Please don't tell me this is happening. And before I knew it, I was like, oh my goodness, my iMac crashed, and within a span of like 2 hours, I've realized my MacBook Pro, which was my lifeline, it has crashed. I told my wife, we need to go to the iMac, and she was like, you have to go to the Apple guy again? I said, yes, my MacBook Pro has crashed. And for a minute, she laughed. She was like, oh my goodness, that's so strange. I didn't laugh. And she knew that, oh, okay, this is not to be made fun of. It's not funny. So once again, I took my MacBook Pro, sat on my Honda Forza, drove 45 minutes, which I hate, especially by the time it was afternoon. Reached my iMac guy, the Apple guy, and he was like, yes, what happened? And I said, my MacBook Pro has crashed. And he was like, look at me. Your MacBook Pro has crashed as well? I said, yes. So it's like, it must be the update, because many people have given their iMacs and MacBook Pros because of the update. So I was like, okay, fine, just make this okay. So I gave it to him, and then I decided, okay, I need to come back. And I was fuming. I was angry. I was pissed off. Drove 45 minutes, came all the way back, reached home. Once I reached home, I was like, now what do I do? So I had my iPad, and I was like, fine, I'll work with my iPad. I have the keyboard for the iPad. I'm going to work with this. I would at least plan C. This was not even plan B. Plan C was I would just answer emails. I would just write updates answers on Quora. I would write articles on my website. I would write articles on Medium. I took out my iPad and opened it. Guess what? It was not working. I'm not joking. The keyboard was not working. There was something wrong. It kept freezing, and I was like, I kept restarting it. I was like, oh my goodness, this cannot be happening. This seriously cannot be happening. Are you kidding me? This cannot be happening. And once again, same thing. Sat on my scooter. This time I didn't take my wife. I told my wife I'm going to go, and she was like, she knew that I was pissed off, and she knew I'd be driving fast. And by the time it was nearly 5 o'clock, the guy had to close. So I sat on my scooter. I think it took me 25 or 30 minutes because I drove fast. I gave it to him, and he was like, what are you kidding me? Your iPad also is not working? I was like, yeah. And by the time I knew that I didn't have a plan D. So I asked him, do you have any laptop, anything else? And he said, no, I don't have anything spare. And I was like, please, you got to help me. Finally looked around. He said, okay, I have an Asus, but this is, I'm going to charge you a little bit of money. I was like, whatever, just take the money, give me the Asus. And he was like, okay, fine, I'll give you this. I took the Asus. I came home. I was pissed off. I was very angry. You know, when you're angry, so angry, nothing is working. And I had to sleep because my head was throbbing. So I told my wife, listen, I'm going to go to sleep now. Even though I had 3 espressos by then, 4 espressos, I think, and I was just burnt out. I went to sleep after I got up. I think I got up somewhere in the night. I got up. I just imagine you've been an iMac user for so long, and now all of a sudden you are taking a Windows system, and you're not taking the state of the art. You're taking a pre-owned second-hand laptop, which is old, and you're trying to make it work. I'll tell you, it was an absolute fucking nightmare. It was a nightmare of epic proportions. The screen was small. I had to open it. It was so slow. I had to open, if I opened more than 2 browser windows, it kept freezing. I was unable to write an article. You know, I would type out a few words and then all of a sudden it would like stall, and then I had to wait for a few minutes until it, released itself of that heavy load of typing few words. Photoshop, to open a Photoshop application took literally 2.5 minutes. I was fuming, I was angry. I'll tell you, I really wanted to, like Hulk smash, just take my fist and pound on that laptop. I wanted to murder it. I was so pissed off. I was so angry. I thought to myself, I'm just going to go and buy bloody a new MacBook Pro, or I'll just buy any new laptop. I don't care what it takes. Fortunately for me, it was late in the night by the time I got into being productive. So I couldn't do it, because if I did, I would have gone and purchased it. I think I was so angry. And, when you're angry, you're impulsive. And what's even more is I even was tempted to buy it from eBay. I was ready to pay double the amount just to ensure that it was shipped to me in 24 hours. Fortunately for me, because I practice breathing techniques, because I practice meditation, because I practice, calming down, I was able to calm myself down. However, I'll tell you, it for an article that takes me 30 minutes, it took me 6 hours to put up an article. And I put up, I'll share with you the link below. I put up the article where I literally abused Tim Cook. I abused Apple. I hated Apple. I hated the situation that I was put in. And I hated it so very much. You have no idea how angry I was. So finally, the article was put up. I put it up on my website. I initially put it up on Medium, but then I knew that it was going to be too negative, so I put it on my website. And that was the first task. The next day, the following day after I went to sleep, I sleep odd hours. I woke up. My head was still throbbing. I literally went for a drive to check each and every store, every outlet, to see what were my options, which were the laptops available, what could I buy. What I realized is here on the island of Koh Samui, everything is priced like, I think 10 to 15% to 20% much more. I didn't want to go in for an Apple that had only USB-C ports, only 2 of them. And I didn't want to be impulsive, buying an Apple and then regretting. And I thought to myself, okay, if I get my system back, then what do I do? I thought of going into Windows. I didn't know whether I should. So 24 hours got spent over there. By the time my iMac guy, got back to me and told me that your iMac, the graphics card is fried because of the dust, and that really messed up my head. Then I said, what about my MacBook Pro? He said it got messed up because of some new update that was there. So that really messed up your system. The iPad Pro, he wasn't able to figure it out. He said he needs to give it for service. So all three of my systems, he said, had crashed, and it would take another full week to get them back. So I was completely devastated. I was completely destroyed. I'll tell you, I've never been so pissed off in my life, never been so angry in my life, that too with the tools that I have. So, I couldn't do anything. I just couldn't do anything. I had to let go. I had to accept it. And that is why I decided I'm going to endure this. I'm going to wait for a week. I'll wait until my system comes back, and only then I would make a call. So during the whole week, what I did was I kept researching. I actually spent a lot of time researching and trying to find out which are the new options available instead of an iMac. I researched a lot. I checked Dave Lee. He's a new guy who I bumped into on YouTube. Really good reviewer, very good reviewer. I'll tell you another guy who I checked out on YouTube. I have subscribed to two new channels. One is Dave Lee, very good reviewer. I have also, let me tell you, Phil Hearn is another guy who also gives you updates, but he's more into Photoshop, but he also gives you system updates. Dave Lee and Theo Joes, really good reviewers. They give you a lot of updates. I also checked out like Computing Forever. I checked a lot of these new channels whereby they give feedback with regards to systems, with regards to Windows versus iMac. So I didn't necessarily only check iMac. I decided I was going to check all the possible options instead of Apple to see what was available in the market. And as of now, when I look at it, I'm very inclined towards the Dell XPS series, especially the Dell 13-inch or the 15-inch. I most probably would be going for a 15-inch. So it has given me a shocking paradigm shift, because what I've realized is Apple today is moving more towards being focused on making money. They just want to make money. That's all they want to do. They don't care about the fact that they've lost their integrity. They've lost that sense of being loyal to their customers, of giving the best of the best to their customers. They have just become this organization which is just looking to milk its customers for its money. That is why they've come out with this MacBook Pro series. Where you need to buy dongles after dongles after dongles, and these dongles are not very durable. They keep breaking. So if you buy a MacBook Pro, you have to buy these dongles, and because these dongles are not durable, they break. And for each and every item, whether it's a microphone, whether it's a studio, whether it's speaker set, whether it is transferring data, for each and everything you need another additional dongle. And if you are a guy who has a video camera, if you have a DSLR, you need to buy extra dongles. So Apple makes a lot of money with these small extra bits, and because they keep spoiling or you lose it, that's how they make money. So I've lost faith in Apple, and I feel Apple is moving too far ahead of time. It's more like, the best analogy that I got online was, the electric car is the car for the future. So they are trying to force you to buy an electric car. And me living in the countryside, I don't have any place where I can charge my car. So I need to travel 20 miles just to charge my car and come back. It doesn't make sense. I mean, agree that Apple is trying to make its systems future-proof, but make it future-proof when the future is there, when the infrastructure is there, when it becomes popular. Don't try to be 10 years so far in advance that people are completely, uncomfortable with the technological advancement. And I feel that is what Apple is trying to do. And it completely messed me up, completely messed up my life for that 1 week. Because what I realized is I was being forced to update my system. Apple is, trying its level best to push planned obsolescence into its system, so that you're forced to buy the new iPhone, you're forced to buy the new system, you're forced to buy new technology, and that's what completely messed up my life, and it messed up everything. So this is my experience with the new, the crashing of the iMac, the crashing of my system, and the crashing of Apple. So I needed to get this off my chest. That was the first part of what really happened with regards to my system. So this is the first part. let me move to the next part coming up shortly.